Never fear, Type 40 Lives here, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show on Rumble, on X, YouTube, and Facebook too, covering all things Doctor Who from right the way back then to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. And take cover. There's a torrent of news and views coming your way as we're back from mid-season break to troubling rumours of a union of evil. Don't like the sound of that. Whilst all of a sudden, everything in the Whoniverse is sounding a little bit more fabulous. Have you noticed that? Everyone is talking about the missing episodes of Doctor Who and some of the latest developments. You're going to get our take delivered to a positively febrile fandom on this Type 40 Live. And we're better than to hang loose for the time. What a frightening thought. We're better than to hang loose for now anyway than in the original TARDIS console room for a big catch-up with a panel. We're going to bring them on as well with their views too. We can't wait to get started. I bet you can't either. People watching there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X will find out who you are in due course and what you've got to say about all of that and all of this that's coming up as well. But who is joining me for this inaugural live stream of this run? Who's going to fill out this console room and mind those cables and all those reflective surfaces? I think you could quite easily push one of those out if you leant on it in a particular direction, Charlotte. What do you think?
Yes, you could be like Del Boy in that famous scene in the pub.
Put your arm for the wrong one.
Yeah, when he goes backwards. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you? Good.
Good. We're still in winter. Everybody at work is talking about Christmas already, which seems a bit crazy to me.
They are?
It's like, it's not even November yet.
Yeah, you want to sort that out. I think you want to sort that out. I mean, I'm layered up and raring to go as ever. It seems like ages since we did this, or certainly did this live, because we have recorded a few morsels here and there, haven't we? But it's different when it all comes down to the red button, isn't it? It all comes on, and we get all the comments, and we catch up with what's going on, don't we? It's a slightly different feeling.
Yeah, and it's funny how. It's a different kind of feeling, this news that's been bubbling, isn't it? When we've had news before, it's been sort of instant, or you sort of know what could happen with this. It's that fun mystery for a little bit has come back into the fandom, I feel, which is quite a nice feeling.
I hadn't looked at it that way. Yeah, bring the mystery back to Doctor Who one way or another to remind us of those black and white days, those glorious earliest of days. I don't remember any of it. I know you don't either, Charlotte. I don't think he does, but he's never really let on. Have you, Gary Akers?
Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh, is it too soon? Sorry.
It's like the noddy holder of Type 40.
I heard somebody mention Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, don't. Yeah, we're not going to even go there, but we will be here until the countdown to actual Christmas. So maybe we'll start sort of decorating bits and pieces here and there. You'll notice a bit of tinsel turn up behind me. It'll amass by midway through.
Each week we can play the game of who's got something in the background.
We'll turn to the camera and go, "Happy Christmas to all of you at home," just like William Hartnell did in that episode.
Break the fourth wall. Yeah, before they break our spirits, we've got more people to bring on. I don't think he's been up the spirits. It's a little too early, even for David Milling.
It's good evening. Hello, everybody. Hello, all in the chat. I've survived Cyprus, which was lovely. I managed to see you all in Cyprus from the balcony, whilst it was drowning out the idiots below. We had plenty of KOK, which is a sort of like a round. Stop it! A round.
You do you.
Of a chocolate eclair. But a Greek thing. So it's a cross between a chocolate eclair and it's more like a what are those little things that they have on Bake Off that they keep, the little round circular things that
they pipe in them, don't they?
The sorts of things. Macarons. They're a bit like that. Gary, if you don't know what I'm talking about, they're called Boston cream pies in America.
Oh, I love macaroons. I love eclairs. Anything I love all of that.
So they
Oh,
were really,
macaroons! When you said the
yeah.
macrons, I thought you
Yeah.
meant that they used to be
The
the
little-
rulers of which country were they? The wife used to have
France.
a massive, yeah.
Yeah. So they weren't that, but yeah, you were
Macaroons have
loud
like the
and
coconut on them.
yeah, and you were that. Oh, that's macaroons.
Oh.
Macarons are the sort of like patisserie ones, but macaroons are lovely too. But yeah, there was lovely, lots of Greek food, and it was lovely. And you were broadcasting loud and proud to the delights of Paphos from my balcony. You'll be pleased to hear.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, speaking about loud and proud, we've got two more people to bring onto the panel. I'll let them decide which is which, but here's a clue.
Hello, we're here in Peterborough Museum for
the Adventures in Time and Space exhibition, which is just mind-blowing. It's just...
Look at this, like, wow.
It's way bigger than we expected.
It is, there's plenty of classic era.
So much classic era, so much original stuff.
Original.
Way more original stuff than we
Yeah,
anticipated.
we've got models, original props, original costumes. It's just... it's not to be
mind-blowing.
seen to be believed.
Mind-blowing.
We are absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, just fantastic. Come down and see it.
It is us.
Oh God, that's the first time I've seen that. Oh God.
What I didn't send to Dan was the outtakes where we kept messing up. We kept getting the title of the exhibition wrong.
Well, I think but you've made it here anyway.
I think we need a daily morning show with those two. That was a good
Simon and Sarah show.
I like it. I like it. It's great to see you both. It seems like you're having a fabulous time there over at Adventures in Time and Space in Peterborough, I understand.
Yeah, we were there literally just a few days ago. We went at the weekend, and
still haven't recovered, have we?
No, it was fabulous. And as you can see from the graphic there, it is until the 2nd of November at Peterborough Museum, and I think it only costs about a £5 as I recall to go in. And how long were we in there, Sarah? Well, very nearly the whole day.
Oh God, 4.5 hours, maybe
something
5,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
We did break it up with coffee and cake in the middle, but we were
right.
Yeah, you got to do that. But we were in for a long time. Honestly, it's brilliant. Seriously, anybody, it's on, as we say, for about 2 or 3 more weeks. If you haven't been yet and you can still manage to make it down there, I mean, what would you say, Sarah? Just highly recommended.
Yeah, please. Yeah, it's worth the admission. I mean, there's a lovely gift shop as well. I mean, even the cafe is Doctor Who themed. There's a TARDIS teapot and milk jug, and it's just wonderful. Yeah, you've got to, if you can get down, especially with the half-term holiday coming up.
Yeah,
please do. I mean, we were struggling to speak because we were literally just.
We were.
It wasn't what we were expecting at all.
No, if anything, I think they've kind of underplayed it to an extent with the social media, with the advertising. It's only once you get in there that you realise how much stuff is in there. And it's massive, isn't it? So it's way bigger than we expected.
It was bigger on the inside.
It was. Bada bing.
What was the item that you were each both mesmerized by?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, I know exactly what mine was, actually. Mine was they got the original spider from Planet of the Spiders. The massive one, it's like this big, sitting on the mandala in a glass cabinet. And actually the other one that mesmerized me, sorry, Sarah, then you can go, but my second item that mesmerized me, and I was gobsmacked to see, is the full medical kit from the Ark in Space, the medical kit that Vira brings out with the little gun with the little ping pong balls in it, and it's got all the accoutrements inside as well. It's got all of the all of the little medical instrumentation still inside this box. It's just tucked in a corner so discreetly. It's just like mind blowing. What was yours favourite, Sarah?
Well, I think the wow factors was the Dalek Emperor from Evil of the Daleks.
Pretty impressive.
And there's also the reconstruction of the trial spaceship from Trial of a Time Lord,
which is mind blowing. It's massive.
Just drops, but for little Marco Polo's tunic, the actual
The original one from 65. Yeah.
And there was also Paul Darrow's uniform from Silurians. It's just incredible.
Lalla Ward's costume as Princess Astra from the Armageddon Factor, the original of that. It's just so much original stuff in there. The other thing that blew me away, long-time viewers of the show will know I love Warriors of the Deep. So they got all the models from Warriors of the Deep. They got the Silurian craft. They've even got Seabase 4. David, I'm not kidding you. The full Seabase 4 model is in there.
Really?
I'm not kidding. I was blown away by that.
Just walking around, we have mouths open.
Yeah, wow.
Is it near
they allow you to take photos?
Yeah, you can take photos. What was that? Sorry, David.
Is it near the train station? Is it far away?
Yeah, it's not far away. It's right in the centre of the city, so it's very, very easy to get to. And it's in a beautiful building. It's very, very spacious. It's beautifully laid out. Seriously, just cannot recommend it highly enough. Just mind-blowing. Fantastic. Really brilliant experience. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
So that's on in Peterborough until the 2nd of November. Still a couple of weeks for people to get over there, however they can, down there, up there, however you may get to Peterborough. Take the route which befits.
Yeah, just get there. And we're going to. The plan is that we're going to do a dedicated show on this, aren't we, Dan? Sarah and I are going to come on and do a full show because we took. Yeah, to answer your question, Gary. Yes, you can take photos, and yes, we took lots and lots of photos.
Yeah, great.
Lots and lots.
I'm stunned that a lot of those pieces that you talked about are still around.
Key to Time, an original Key to Time, Gary. Just original season 17 Tom Baker outfit, the season 18 outfit, all original, screen used. Earthshock Cyberman, screen used. The Cyber Controller from Attack of the Cybermen, screen used.
Yeah, and there's a lot of New Who I've heard.
A lot of New Who as well.
Somebody told me a story that they had from the Capaldi episode, the Mondasian Cybermen, that one.
Yes.
Wow.
When they were still like half converted people.
Yeah.
And they had to take them out because they were freaking out people so much.
Oh, really? Because they got a Mondasian Cyberman in there, certainly.
Well, it's the scenes, when in that episode when they're in the house, you just hear pain. So they're not fully converted yet. So it was that version that they had up, and apparently some kids were properly getting freaked out, so they had to take them away.
I can't believe it. Yeah, you just turn this corner and they're just there, and it's all just set out wonderfully.
And as George Rainey has just said in the chat, the Sutek replica is there. And what does the Sutek replica do, Sarah?
Its eyes light up.
You press a little button and the eyes light up green.
20 minutes. I was there.
I'm going next.
David, seriously.
I'm going next week.
Did they have to come up to Sarah and go, "Ma'am, please stop pushing the button"?
And what did they also have, Simon? The hand and the cushion.
Oh yeah, they got the hand. They even had the hand on the cushion under Sutek.
Attention to detail like that's what's going to win the fans over, isn't it? And demand the return of this event. I think it's clearly been a great success. So if you want to get over there, you've got time. You've got a little bit of time left, a couple of weeks at least, and you can stay tuned, of course, to Type 40 for the full account of their excursion there from Simon and Sarah. I can't wait to see the picture. It's going to be a laugh. Great to see so many people back here in the live chat. Yes, including Lord Thoth, and Garbage is here too. Yes, there he is. Lots of moderators. Thank you so much, everybody who supports this channel, and the commenters as well. Crimpling Doubloon is in, chatting away. So is Stephen O'Neill, who seems to be glued to Eden. They're still showing classic Doctor Who, and you've got BBC Three showing new Doctor Who. So as long as you don't want literally all new Doctor Who starring you-know-who, then you're pretty well served by everything else. And let's not forget too that coming to a doormat or through a letterbox near you soon is you'll be checking your status, checking your emails to see if it's been dispatched like these two guys have, because the season 13 set is on the way. I understand some people have them already. David,
wow.
I'm fervently wondering about this.
Mine's still in the post. It said that it was dispatched on Monday. I can tell you what, I can do live tracking. So when that sort of works, I will let you know where we're expecting.
Thank you.
We're
It's an
expecting
8.
it says basically they've told Royal Mail that they've sent it, but Royal Mail haven't got it yet. So there you go.
We're rooting for you, mate. We're rooting for you.
Thank you.
8 discs and 6 stories, a wealth of extras, beautifully packaged as ever. Smiles all round, Simon. You can't wait for this, can you?
No, absolutely. So I'm torn between which is the best season of Doctor Who of all time. Is it season 13? Is it 14? Well, truth be told, it's probably the 2 of them. So yeah, I hold season 13 in very, very high esteem. It's up there as my favourite season, as I say, along with 14. I don't think it gets Doctor Who doesn't get any better, does it, David? Than that.
Well, season 21 was probably third, I would say, to those 2.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But yeah,
Good
you're
stuff.
absolutely bang on, Simon.
I think classic Who is back in a big way, back literally to some degree or another. That main discussion coming up later on, of course. Funky's in the live chat too, as is Tom from T-Dwarf Productions and the Zero Room here as well. So lots of familiar handles, as they call them. And yes, they're all saying hello and slapping one another on the back there. There's Domgo with a pair of, they look like underpants. I'm not going to ask. Those aren't. Oh, no, it's writing. I thought it was a skiddy, you dirty devil. Okay, so yes, let's get stuck in to the rest of it and raise the tone. I think raise the tone. You know, I do like to keep an eye, even when we're not on, I like to keep an eye on what's going on out there in Doctor Who. But, you know, you sort of keep your bookmarks open and you have a look and you half read stuff. And when I saw this at first, I thought, well, that can't be right. Master marries Rani. That doesn't sound very likely, very desirable. Not least of all, because the last time we saw the Rani, she was being eaten by another Time Lord in the nicest possible way. So that didn't seem like a very likely thing to happen. But it turns out that the Rani, it's not the Rani, it's this Rani, Anjali Mahindra, who played Rani on the Sarah Jane Adventures. That's who they meant. So she has only gone and married that wrong-un, the master, Sasha Dewan's master there from the Jodie Whittaker era. And yeah, they've been in a relationship for a few years now. I was aware that he proposed, I think, around 18 months ago. And it's happened. I mean, I think he wants to watch himself because, you know, people do change as soon as they get married. And Anjali did change. She did appear in another role in Doctor Who. I can't remember exactly who that was, but I prefer to remember her as Rani there in the Sarah Jane Adventures. I love that. But yeah, nice things happening to seemingly nice people. Charlotte, did you see the story break?
Oh yeah, because also their best man is an actor I quite like. So I saw pictures pop up to do with that. But I didn't realise that these two had been together for so long. I'm like you, I remember the talk of them being a couple. But when I was like, oh God, they're getting married. I think they were in Italy as well, so it looked like an absolutely gorgeous do. If you've seen the pictures.
British Vogue have the exclusive pictures for all of this. I mean, I do love a good wedding, and I mean, look how stunning Anjali looks there in her regalia. Obviously, she's a British actress, best known still, I think, for the Sarah Jane Adventures, but she's been in lots of high-end dramas since, like Bodyguard and all that kind of stuff. She's one of those who you'll have seen her face in various things. You've sort of watched her grow up. And Sasha Dewan too, he's another actor who's been on TV for longer than you think. I think The Last Train was the first thing I ever saw him on, a sci-fi drama on ITV about 25 years ago. And doesn't he look splendid as well? He looks almost masterly, I think. Very regal. Simon, did you catch this?
No, not. I'm afraid I didn't. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't like either of them particularly. Sorry, so shoot me. I'm very happy for them. I'm sure it was a lovely event, and I'm sure they're a lovely couple. But no, not really my cup of tea. But there we go.
So the wedding was in Tuscany, for those who like to know these things, and it was a mix of Western and Hindu ceremonies and traditions and things like that. And if you scan around there in the crowd, you do see some various sort of familiar faces, other actors, amidst all that colour and all that activity. No, I do like a good wedding, and there they are there in Tuscany. Doesn't that look absolutely beautiful? Did you see this, Gary?
I did not. Yeah, no, that looks like, I mean, those their regalia is just jaw-dropping. it looks like quite a do. I mean, it's better than, you know what? It's better than, going to Vegas and getting married by Elvis. I mean, this is certainly
Slightly classier, Gary. Slightly classier.
a skosh more classy. But no, wow, it's very impressive.
Good. He may have been there, but I think he'd have been struggling for the mic when the singing all happens, because it's bound to happen at whatever wedding. Because I understand this man's been known to sing as well. Charlotte, who is that there? Somebody you like?
It might be Jonathan Bailey.
There you go. So where would people know
This
him
might
from?
be.
Obviously, he appeared in Time Heist, didn't he? But Sash Dhawan or Anjali Mahindra, they weren't in it. So I suppose they must know one another for years. I mean, what's the story? Do you know Charlotte is a big fan of Jonathan Bailey's?
I think as teenagers, they did like a play, him and Sasha, like at the National Theatre or something. They look really young. I saw a picture, and they've clearly been mates ever since. I had no idea they were that close. Literally no idea whatsoever until, like I said, I saw the pictures pop up. But Sarah was surprised as well, weren't you, Sarah? When
I was looking at the photos, because I am kind of interested in this. So he looks really familiar. Wherever, you didn't recognise him, with the regalia on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, congratulations. They do look lovely. Look, yeah, like you were saying, Dan, we like to see nice things happen to nice people. I never had a problem with these. Do you think Sasha did a rendition of Rasputin at the wedding reception?
No. When he got a few pints inside him, yeah.
He might have done the dance at least, because I remember he seemed to know what to do in that scene when he did the dance in the Jodie episode.
Yeah. I wonder how many drunken giraffes are done as well at the reception.
Both of them are a big hit at Doctor Who conventions. They're very good with fans and have done a lot to help support fan events and things like that. So I'm sure that you'll join us here at Type 40 in wishing the newlyweds every happiness. What a lovely thing. Nice things happening to nice people. That's always going to get a thumbs up from us here at Type 40. And what else have we got to talk about? What else have we got to catch up on? More than you'd think. Still no show for them. Where are they? Them. There they are. Yes, they're caught in a time loop somewhere. But that's the good news. But there's lots else going on besides that. Of course, there is. And as Peter Capaldi is known to say, we wish them all the best of luck. Of course we do. Yeah, of course we do. Okay, so
right.
What else is happening? Yes, so as you reminded us there, in fact, who mentioned it first? I blame Charlotte. You mentioned Christmas first, didn't you?
Yes,
reminding us we're not getting a Doctor Who Christmas special this year. I don't know.
Well, rough and smooth.
We're not even. Well, some people have asked Simon about the status of the other Christmas event that we've had this last couple of years from the classic era, namely the Doctor Who in colour productions. So there was one in 2023, wasn't it? They put out Doctor Who and the Daleks in colour, if you remember that. And then the following year there was the War Games in colour. And as we're getting to that time of year, and that was sort of becoming an annual event, people have been asking about this. Have you been wondering?
Do you know, I haven't. I completely forgotten about it. I found, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed watching these stories, the War Games in particular. The colorization on the War Games was just mind-blowing, and all credit to them for that. But I still think it was a massacre that they butchered the War Games. The editing was atrocious by Ben Cook. The music was atrocious by Mark Ayres. Sorry, it ruined it. And the good work, the fantastic work that they did with the colorization was just butchered by the mess that they made of it with the editing and the post-production, the music. So no, I must be honest, I'd completely forgotten about it. It hadn't crossed my mind, because I can't honestly say if they're going to butcher it the way that they butchered the Daleks and the War Games, I'm not actually up for it, to be honest. I'm sorry. I found it it was so ruined for me that it took away from the colorization.
you may not be that heartbroken to hear then that there's nothing this year, and we have it from the editor himself, the man responsible for the things that you didn't like, really. Ben Cook,
Yeah.
he's spoken about it over on X. No in color this December, so he was asked directly. Other things planned, he warned, but hopefully.
Jesus.
Hi, Ben. He likes me, but hopefully there will be more at some point. Now, I share some of your feelings about that, but generally, for the most part, I want them to push on with these sorts of things as long as they learn by each successive project. I think, Gary, that's where I am with it.
Yeah. Do if you want to keep it to 90 minutes, stop with only confine yourself to 4-parters.
Correct, Gary.
Don't do any of the cut down stuff so that we're not distracted by, oh, they skipped over that part. Oh, that part was missing. Oh, this, which is the narrative going on in my head as I was like watching these. So take a 4-parter, don't butcher it, and then do your work.
Bottom, I agree, Gary. That's exactly what I'd like to see happen. Just and Garbage says this in the chat. One job, color it. That's it. That's all we need. We don't need Marquez music. We don't need any editing. We don't need any retrofitting. Just colorize something, and then I'm 100% on board. Sorry, Sarah.
Pick something a bit more festive. I mean, we could have the mine robber.
Yeah, it would have been perfect. It would have been perfect, Sarah. Last year, the mind robber. There we go.
Now, why make these things harder for yourself than they need be, Charlotte?
Yeah, see, I found the first one out of these, the Dalek one. I could see some of the sort of cuts, but it flowed better. Whereas for me, the second one, I agree with what Simon said. It was such a high feat to get that big of a story and to cut it down. And then even as somebody of my age, I found the new Who stuff at the end really out of place. I don't, when I'm watching a classic story, I don't want to see all the modern doctors, even if it's just meant to be regeneration fluff. It just, because in my head, they weren't alive at that point. They didn't exist. No. So why on earth would they be in the story?
Right.
Bottom.
Time for a bit of a rethink, really, and to consider what may have worked and may not have worked. David, I think that's what we can wish, because we want creative stuff to be done with Doctor Who. We just don't want it damaged, do we?
Totally, and I think it just, as Simon and Gary and Charlotte and you've all said, in the fact that if you're going to colorize a 90-minute one and just say, look, we've done this. Here it is for your enjoyment. For example, the Tomb of the Cybermen, we've colorized it. This is what it looks like. Enjoy.
It's what they should have done, David, was the Tomb of the Cybermen.
Because I'm with you, Simon, and on especially on the War Games, I watched it and I was just sort of, actually, this has really sort of destroyed one of my favorite stories here. So I'm gonna have to park this, ignore it, and I had to cleanse myself a few days later by watching the full 10 episodes of the War Games to put myself through that again, just to rebalance it. And as for the Daleks, as Charlotte rightly said, they had a brilliant example of how to condense the Daleks into that time by the Peter Cushing film. And they just went, we had these stupid recaps. It was just nonsense.
Oh, the flashbacks were awful.
Oh my God. Look, yeah, we've got to remind you of something that you've watched 2 minutes ago. No.
Terrible.
And I'm really pleased that Ben Cook is doing other things, probably dressing up as a Santa and ringing a bell outside a department store this Christmas.
What I find really sad, to be honest, David, is the fact that it was a great opportunity. We should be able to go back to those stories and see them colorized. So it would be perfect to go back to Tomb of the Cybermen now. And I would rewatch it if all it was that it was colorized as brilliantly as the War Games was. I would go and I would watch that. Whereas I can guarantee I will never, ever spend another minute of my life watching either the Daleks or the War Games, purely because of the editing and the retrofitting and the music. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. And could you imagine what they would do with the Desert Scape? Could you imagine what they could do with that tomb and how they could make that beautifully done? even more so than it was originally. And for me, it was a case of we need to put our modern day stamp on this to make it relevant for new audiences. Well, no, a new audience will watch something if it's good and if it's quality. And if black and white is the issue for the young audience, just colorize it. And don't fiddle around with it too much, please.
No fiddling, no messing, no modging, no cutting, and go away and think about what you've done.
Yeah.
And in the corner until we say you can come back in the room, and then maybe we'll look at what you've done next. I think that's the advice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't blame him, you could always blame him, but there's not much point in blaming him because he's not going to be around for very much longer. And if you want the full report there on Russell T Davies, who, when, how it all went wrong, catch up on the last edition of the Type 40 live stream there in the playlists. We went in deep with that. We brought in lots of our various sources to give you an unmatched account of how it all connects with no missing pieces. Go and check that out by all means, as well as other editions of the Type 40 live stream, our regular deep dives on special event stories, or in that case, a movie with Doctor Who and the Daleks for its 60th anniversary. There's our Ask Us Anything specials, which does exactly what it says on the tin. And there was our review too of, strangely, the Thursday Night Murder Club. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Go and find out why. We reviewed that on episode 250 there, and our regular shows as well, where we keep an eye on the news and everything that's going on out there in the Whoniverse with you in the fandom too. This is Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook, and there is lots more where that came from. You'll be pleased to learn. Just give us a moment and we'll grab who and what we can. I think that's the trick.
Now, I suggest you start watching Type 40, because I can't. I've got to watch this little blighter. The job through. I'll have less of that from you, thank you very much. Know your place.
Know your place.
Look, if I have to run up a flight of stairs, you come and find me.
I'll be in the lift.
That's going to the bottom of the floor, then. Keep watching Type 40. There's good chaps.
That one still cracks me up.
It's one of my favourite ones. That one.
It's the Daleks saying, know your place.
We love Scott.
Scott's a hero.
Speaking of heroes, anybody who could marry Pat Butcher, I think, is a hero. And that's just one of the list of credits to the name of Tony Counter there, who's just passed away at the age of 88, a veteran British character actor who appeared in several Doctor Who stories. So that's the reason why we're tipping our hats here to him. He's one of those actors, when it comes to Doctor Who, you think, oh, did he play this? Who did he play? What story? Oh, I know that face. And how about you, Simon? How many of Tony's 3 appearances in Doctor Who can you name off the top of your head? Can you put a...
Well, he is... Oh, flipping out, you've put me on the spot now. Hold on. He is in... Oh, gosh, I can't name any of them. Gosh, it's terrible, Dan. Which stories is he in? I know the name.
All classic stories too. So firstly, there was The Crusade, and then he was in Colony in Space, and a final appearance in 1983.
Enlightenment, of course he was.
Got one of those faces, isn't he, Gary? You recognize him?
I did place him in Colony in Space only because I've seen that story so many times. Not the other. I didn't figure the other two.
I remember him in Enlightenment very clearly, and I can't believe I've forgotten him in Enlightenment.
Yeah, he's I never put 2 and 2 and 2 together with this, and I certainly had never realised it was the same bloke who would go on to play Roy Evans on EastEnders from 1994 all the way to 2003. So again, one of the biggest shows in Britain at that time. But it was just one of just a massive list here of all the shows that they all used to do. So get your bingo card out, David. Crown Court, he did that.
Yes.
Z Cars, The Avengers.
Did he do the Sweeney?
He did the Sweeney, of course, and he did Minder and the Professionals too. So
Yes.
all those boxes ticked. He was in Heartbeat, Howard's Way, Lovejoy, and Juliet Bravo, my favourite.
Oh wow!
I love Lovejoy. That was such a great show.
Wasn't it Howard's Way as well?
Howard's
Oh, my
Way
word.
too. And Gary, you're going to love that he was in The Saint. I know you like a bit of ITC action and The Champions as well.
Any ITC stuff. It's all like the second shelf of my bookcase is all ITC stuff. I love all of that stuff.
Didn't he play Ensor's son in Blake 7 with a really bad toupee?
He did. He did. I was getting round to that. Yeah, here he is. Here he is in Blake 7 there with Jan Chappell.
Oh,
Wearing a singlet and a polo neck underneath, which is an interesting look, but I think he makes it work. I think he makes it work.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget that he did nearly do other Doctor Who stuff, didn't he?
Did he?
He was nearly, well, he was considered for the role of Packard in Warrior's Gate, the one that eventually went to Kenneth Cope. Yeah, and he was also considered for the role of either the chief officer or Arak in Vengeance on Varos. Yeah, he was considered for those roles as well. Yeah. Yeah, so he nearly had another couple of brushes with Doctor Who, just didn't quite make it to the finish line.
He didn't quite knock up as many as Michael Sheard, but yeah, quite a showing. Quite a showing. Sarah, do you remember Tony Cantor from EastEnders?
I do, yeah. This was my era. So yeah, I grew up. So this was mainly what I knew him from. I vaguely remember him in Lovejoy. That were kind of on when I was a kid. But yeah, and I completely forgotten that he was in Doctor Who until I rewatched Enlightenment. Obviously, you can tell it's him, but yeah, he looks completely different in the Crusades. You wouldn't.
Yeah,
really...
he does. Well, I think in Colony in Space as well, which is why he's one of those actors that I never quite sort of put them together and realise what it is that they've done, because he's just completely different. He's a character actor at the end of the day. That's why he looks different in everything he does.
Harrington says in the live chat, I bet he worked constantly the best gig, because he could play practically anything from Cockney hard men to sort of high class sort of moneyed businessmen, I suppose, David. So actors like that are never going to be short of work, are they?
No, totally not. And back in those days, I think that lots of the BBC staff directors had their own sort of rep. So if you got sort of if you know what I mean, well in with a certain director, you get plenty and plenty of these sort of roles.
Yeah.
And the ability to, and I'm not being rude when I say, but he's just an average-looking Joe. And if you're an average Joe, you can just be anything. You can be a baddie, you can be your businessman, you can be your down and out, you can be your sailor, you can be anything you want. You could be a second-hand car salesman like in EastEnders and end up as a Pat Butcher. But you can be anyone, and it just shows the versatility of his range.
Mm-hmm.
You remember him now, Charlotte?
No, sadly, only because I'm not an EastEnders person. I never really watched it, and like you said, in Classic Who, we had so many of these brilliant actors, but like you said, they sort of were a little bit part of the scenery. They were secondary characters or side characters. So unless they were really over the top, you sort of, for me, I struggle with faces and names with these sort of actors.
Just as David said, that's the kind of virtue of an actor like Tony Cantor. He could sort of, he was so naturalistic that he could disappear, but he did play larger than life characters as well. I mean, his turn in Enlightenment, which is a favourite story of mine, is so spooky. How him juxtaposed to Mark Strickson's Turlough in that, and so when I think of the extended cast to it, I often think of him just as much as I do kind of Linda Barron or those larger than life characters who were in that. But I was so sad to see that Tony had passed away after a long life and a long and happy marriage too. He'd been married to his wife since 1962, and they got four children. And she only passed away the week before as well. So yeah, it's
that's so sad.
Yeah, I read that, and you wonder whether the same thing happened to Mary Tam's husband, and you just wonder whether did he lose the will to live without his wife. It's possible. It's possible. Poor bloke.
The old sadly dying of a broken heart.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, David. Is that what happened? Maybe.
Yeah.
Lots of people remembering from EastEnders, including Daniel Cox there in the live chat. Wasn't Pat also married to Mike Reed? Yes, she was. Yeah, of course she was. And Richard Brooks says, rest in peace there. So, yes, obviously, our condolences to the friends and the family and the colleagues, because there were probably a lot of those too, of Tony Counter. Long life, lots of great performances to check out. And let us know which was your favourite of his 3 Doctor Who roles too there in the comments. Okay. The main event is coming up here at Type 40 Live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. There's lots to get stuck into. The real truth about the missing episodes in 2025. Archive experts have been sharing updates, positive updates, and teasing us all into a proper old state. I think we've had time to gather our thoughts and calm down a little, and enough to certainly to make it back here to have a roundtable discussion about what we think, where it could go, and also to make sure that we've got everything right. But before we do that, I think it's time for a break. It's sorry, mate. Yes, so it's time for us to take a break, to wet the whistle, or answer the call of nature. That's the expression. Answer the call of nature. And whilst we do that, you can check out some golden faces and golden voices from Doctor Who's distinguished TV past. He says he's looking at the third Doctor sat on the toilet. Distinguished TV past here. And here they are selling us everything from toys to washing up liquid and heaven knows what else. We'll be back with more from Type 40 Live in a couple of minutes.
Families are supposed to be alike. Not mine. George is always joking. Where'd she get that red hair?
Come on, we'll make a kick off if
We don't agree on anything. Good job there's 2 sorts of Rosie. George is dedicated to medicated. And Miss, who has to wash her hair every day, likes the fresh smell of Vosine herbal. So we have one thing in common, hair that's really clean, thanks to medicated Vosine.
Build the Cyberman conversion chamber and construct your Cyberman army. Restrain the space captain.
Upgrading is compulsory. Start the conversion. Upgrading is complete.
Join the Dalek Empire. Build the Dalek factory and create a new race of the supreme beings. Use the machine arms to reject the inferior Daleks. Rotate the conveyor belt to assemble your new Dalek army. Cyberman conversion chamber and Dalek factory.
Mrs. Turner, identify these pictures.
thick and meaty in a rich sauce. Brains faggots. Oh, they're double faggot burgers. Rice with pineapple cubes. Sweet and sour faggots.
Fine. What other good food costs so little and lets you do so much? And here's your prize.
Use your brains. Save money.
Back with Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook. More talk from across the past, the present and the future of all things Doctor Who. And the excitement is building. Is more coming back? We're going to find out what you think there in the live chat and ask the panel too. Yes, are they back? Are they fed and watered? Are they relieved? That's the question. That's the question we all want the answers to. I think everybody's back. Oh, yes, hello. Yes, welcome back. Hello. So, yes, I love another great selection of adverts. Some vintage stuff there. I think, Sarah, to please everybody. We do like to cater for all markets.
Oh yes, all audiences.
The Zero Room says, I made my own Doctor Who Lego toys from 1970s Lego space sets. And I'm looking at the TARDIS right now. It's show-offs again, Simon.
Photo needed, please.
Yeah. like that. Philip Roy is admiring the John Pertwee sat on the toilet. Yeah, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And what else is here? Mike from the Nag's Head, married to Sarah Jane Smith. I know, they kept that quiet, didn't they?
I think they kept a few things. I was gonna say, I think they kept a few things quiet with those kids with the redheads.
Yeah, the milk
I was thinking that it's like that's really suspicious. It's really suspicious. Why does she have red hair when the parents?
Yeah, shocker after shocker after shocker. And who else is here? We've got Domgo. Bubbles is in the live chat, which sounds painful. And Ian Scales has joined us. Oh, goody! He says he obviously enjoys the adverts too. A long-standing Type 40 live tradition. And now and again we even find new adverts. So I wouldn't describe them as lost or missing, but they're missing from us. So we do like to keep an eye out for those. And people can't wait to get into the main topic. I'm happy to say, yes. So everybody's been talking about this all week. Obviously, we've been on mid-season break, but when it comes to sort of piling back into the cloister room as part of the Big Who for our lively discussion of the week, where else could we go, really? But there, what a week! We talk about this regularly. We try and check in with it when we can, even though it's a frustrating topic. Few Doctor Who fans are going to need any reminding that there are still a heartbreaking 97 episodes missing from the BBC's archives. We've got 26 stories still incomplete, still missing that program of junking, erasure, and recycling, in all fairness, that was common in British TV throughout the 60s and the 70s. It did hit our show particularly hard. It was all to save materials, and because they didn't have enough storage, wasn't it, Simon? There were clear logistical factors, but it's still smart, doesn't it?
Oh, doesn't harm. Yeah, I mean, they were wiping tapes just to reuse the tapes, and then, as you say, junking film just purely for storage reasons. And I mean, it is kind of difficult to put yourself in the mindset of what they were thinking at the time. And I've often thought about this. Is it sort of forgivable from the point of view of back in those days? And this all sort of started literally as early as the late 60s. They were junking them, or at least erasing the tapes and reusing the transmission tapes. And you kind of think, is it forgiven for the fact that back in the late 60s, there was absolutely zero concept whatsoever that these stories would ever be really rescreened? Nobody could ever in the late 60s have foreseen that home media would become a thing, let alone the explosion to become. So can we forgive them because of that? Because simply they couldn't foresee the value of them?
Well, I got to a place where the answer from me was yes, and I could understand. And then I see graphics like this, I think, you fuck. To see the series history decimated in such a way, obviously all of the grey TARDISes there in our graphic, they're the material that's missing, and that's a lot of grey there through the first 6 years of the series, Sarah.
Yeah, when you see it like that, you just I mean, God, look at season 4. Gosh.
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
It just feels like another world, and you just think, what were they thinking? But yeah, like Simon was saying, there wasn't that foresight. It wasn't even conceived of. It was literally, all right, we've done that. We don't need them anymore. Oh no, it was it was going to become an institution, and we would care. TV and film would be something that we would care about preserving.
Obviously, with Philip Morris to thank for returning 9 episodes. They were the last batch, weren't they? Which filled in so much of season 5. We can see there on the graphic. But I think we could have been forgiven for thinking, Gary, that we'd reached somewhat of an end point, given that it had been 12 years since anything missing had been returned by anyone. There've been precious few murmurings since, haven't there?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, what an event the Return of the Tomb of the Cybermen was, and because that just kind of came out of nowhere. And you're right, that graphic does make your heart ache. I think if I had a time machine, I would just go back and, plant myself out in the skit behind the BBC and just make off with all the reels that they were throwing. And you know what? I really wish that they had marketed the 60s era to the US, because that, maybe that would have increased the chance that somebody somewhere would still have, copies of all these missing shows instead of just kind of bicycling them around the UK. Would that have made a difference? I don't know. I think it might have, but yeah.
It's all so random, isn't it? And trying to sort of make sense, putting it into any kind of pattern, it is somewhat of a futile effort, David. But that's never stopped Doctor Who fans from speculating, obviously for hoping and wishing and compiling sort of fantasy lists. That's perfectly natural, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know, we had that thing after the Enemy of the World and Web of Fear were found, and obviously minus episode 3, that we had that massive Omni rumor that went on for years about them being more and everything like that. And we when you mention the missing episodes, it sort of makes Doctor Who fans that are really invested in the show just sit bolt upright and go on, right? Okay, what do you know? Where's it coming from? What's happening? Who's got them? What is it? And it's just amazing that this subject enlivens and brings the whole community together at a time where it's been quite divided. And I remember sitting down and as a very small child watching the Five Faces repeat, Five Faces Doctor Who repeats on BBC Two. And one fact I didn't know about, I think it was until I think you mentioned it, Simon, the other week. You might have done, I believe, whereby at one time that was the only second Doctor story in the archive.
Yeah, it was the only complete one. Yeah, apart from the War Games, which was too long. Yeah, it was the only complete one. Yeah,
which
for
is
a long time.
Staggering to think that poor old Pat Troughton's time as the Doctor, there are only 2 complete stories, of which one was too long. You know, that could be transmitted. And I think this is why the missing episodes talk. It's so it gets us so engaged, and so much so that even Doctor Who magazine once did an April Fool's gag, I think in around 1984, that they'd found the 10th planet in colour.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
here's what I think has changed in recent years. With the comeback of Doctor Who and the expansion of sort of geek culture, I think, and an interest in media and a kind of romance that's been lathered on this concept, is that the mainstream, I think that I wouldn't say that everybody in Britain knows that there are missing episodes of Doctor Who, but I think it's a lot more talked of than it used to be. At one time, it was something that only Doctor Who fans knew about or even cared about. But now if something to do with this breaks, or even more rumours, it is often headline news. You know, as the return was back in 2012, this was absolutely everywhere. And I know that 2013, sorry, and I know that some of that was because it was attached to an anniversary. But nonetheless, whenever it does bubble up, you do get more cuttings and headlines. Obviously, it's very clickbait friendly. That could be part of it as well, Sarah, because sites need to be filled up just the same way that newspaper columns used to. But I think that we collectively, not just Doctor Who fans, have realised there is more value in this stuff the hard way.
Yeah, and it's people's memories, but also it's a tiny bit, it's like a time capsule, isn't it? It's that time, and now, there's so many big nostalgic things going off. Like there's a Curse of Frankenstein coming out, for Hammer Horror. There's, Doctor Who and the Daleks. There's all kinds of things. Every week there seems to be another anniversary for a film or a TV show. And these things matter more and more. And it is interesting how we keep kind of, we seem to spend more time now looking back than we do forward. But I think that's just an indictment of the times and the quality of the TV maybe now. And obviously with we got to Doctor Who, the future is uncertain. If we look at the past, that at this time, if there is an announcement soon, we hope, the past is looking a lot more positive than the future is. It's bizarre how everything's all over the place.
It all works out. The answers seem to lie in old film cans, which could be anywhere, any shed, any loft, any lean-to or dugout all over Britain, it would seem. Here on Type 40, we've been following the establishment and the evolution of an initiative called Film is Fabulous for a couple of years now. And I think the last time we talked about them was April, May time, something like that, when they held their first proper event. So we knew that it was heading in a particular direction, but we'd acknowledged that it was taking time for them to sort of establish themselves, really, and what they could realistically achieve. The people involved are very professional, tight-lipped, and when they do speak, it tends to be it's very plain speaking. I think they know their audience, they know who's listening. Let's put it that way. But the good news is that as of October 2025, Film is Fabulous have been granted charitable status. So that's obviously a great boon to their general broad efforts in the interests of film preservation, I suppose, and education of film as historical artifacts, I suppose, both in and of themselves as objects and whatever may be on them. So they're able to accept donations and apply for grants now, basically. That's the crux of it, which is going to help fund more work and help them acquire whole collections, which is how they intend on going about retrieving as much as they can and making sure that what should goes back to its rights holders and what can find a natural home somewhere else and be used for educational purposes or whatever, that they can advance that, I suppose. Now, there are links in the description and the show notes to everything that Film is Fabulous is doing. So they've got the websites and the social medias. Head over there and check all that out and support however you can, by all means. But where the story really started to take shape was, believe it or not, over on social media, where a lot of things tend to nowadays. And it was a recent post in the wake of their new status over on their Facebook account that set it all off. And yes, so they were quizzed again about Doctor Who, because Doctor Who fans, we can never really leave it alone. We can never leave it alone for too long, can we? And Film is Fabulous answered, as mentioned by Sue Malden at the event in May, which we talked about at the time, we are aware of several missing episodes of Doctor Who. Sue stated one or two, but there are more than this, in private collections in the UK. We are liaising with the individuals about cataloguing and preserving their entire collection, including the missing Doctor Who episodes, and ensuring that copies are returned to the BBC. We expect to make a detailed announcement shortly. Now, I saw that. I think we all saw that. I thought that was perfectly reasonable. Did Doctor Who fans leave it there? Of course they didn't. And they were, I think that Film is Fabulous, who were obviously still putting things together with how they're going to advance as a charity. I think they've been sort of overwhelmed really with inquiries, which is, again, it's understandable. And they seem to understand that. They seem to understand that too. So they've responded by giving a really compelling long form interview to the Doctor Who The Missing Episodes podcast there, which is fronted by Tim Burrows. Now, he's an expert in this field himself. And that was quickly followed by a chat with the Radio Times too. So between those two places, we can piece together the general lay of the land. And like everybody else out there, I expect we've been furiously sort of messaging between one another, haven't we? What have we heard? What have we read? Have you heard that podcast yet? Have you read that article yet? Did you see that quote? What do you hope it is? We're just the same as every other fan, aren't we, Charlotte? You know, it's nectar.
Well, yeah, and I think this has been heightened because we've had such a gap. Simon said this a while ago when we were doing predictions. He said, you said, didn't you, Simon? This is the longest sort of space we've had from one episode being found to the next, hopefully.
Correct.
So because we've had that, I think it's just made people more and more sort of wanting and thinking, oh God, can we get this one back? Can we get that one back? And I think it's the idea of, I remember that with their first statements, it gave me the impression at the time that if they find anything, it's not just going to be one thing. It's not just going to be a one-off thing. They're probably going to get a good haul because they were talking about multiple collectors and multiple people they were talking to. And sod's law basically is that you're probably going to get a good, like I said, chunk of missing episodes. So the fact that we might not, so then you just thought, what if we have an announcement and it's multiple episodes and it's multiple stories, even if it's just one part, would be amazing. And I think especially as it's the two Doctors, which for so many reasons they're probably the most important in classic, because Bill started the role, he sort of set a lot of the cornerstones, and then Troughton innovated with regeneration and what you could do as the new actor in this role, which had never been done on TV, and he was such a trailblazer. So I think we just want to have as much of that start back to sort of see the beginnings of our show as much as we want, and I think that's the real sort of drive with a lot of the fan reaction to this.
Knowing that something exists now that we didn't know existed 2 or 3 weeks ago, Gary, you can understand, can't you? I mean, I've got it in check, but you can understand why people kind of need to know, because people are different. People need to know what it is, don't they?
Well, hope springs eternal. We all have our idea about, which ones we hope they find in our lifetime and everything. That podcast really is a really enlightening show if you just want to know anything about film preservation and the enormous hurdles that they have to go through, because they're not an archive. They're just facilitating, if they can, the movement of these collections and reels to their proper place. And they're very dedicated. They're dedicated to being on the side of the collector, not coming in, picking and choosing, what they want and discarding the rest. So, it's an enormous task. I mean, you come out of listening to that podcast with enormous admiration for all of their efforts. I think in that social media post that you put up, I think that if they could change anything about that social media post now, I think they would remove the last sentence, which is, we expect to make an announcement shortly, because that's like throwing gasoline on the fire, because as far as most Doctor Who fans go, shortly means next week. So I think that they would probably like to amend that part of it.
I think they've been very precise in what they have said, and clearly their operations, how they're dealing with all the material that they're managing to save that's at risk, that's in jeopardy. They seem to be very meticulous, precise, respectful.
Yes,
and also they're not in any rush. And I think that kind of instilling that idea that something needs to be done now could frighten people who are some distance away from where we are. Now, obviously, we have to state this. We're not in the habit of plugging other podcasts here on this show, but this is an extraordinary broadcast. To stream or download there, Doctor Who: The Missing Episodes Podcast Special Edition, fronted by Tim. A long-form interview with 3 people who are members of Film is Fabulous. So it's a cooperative of people who have lots of different disciplines, skills, depth of knowledge that they can bring to this project. So we can't recommend this enough. Go and listen to it for yourself rather than hear us sort of rattle through that, because it's very complex, isn't it, Simon? I don't think I'd like to be in that situation. The diplomacy that must be involved is mind-boggling.
Well, of course, and as you say, as Doctor Who fans in particular, you know, the temptation would be to just sort of, you know, run into these people's houses and just tear all the film cans open just to see. And so to have that tenacity and patience and calmness to be able to go in, and maybe that's why, by the sounds of it, Film is Fabulous have been more successful than other groups, bodies, organizations, individuals who have gone in to try to recover these episodes. Maybe that's why Film is Fabulous have got the edge on it, because they have, as you say, Dan, they have got that calmness. They're somehow, I don't know how they're managing to do this, but they are somehow managing to sort of detach themselves slightly and keep their cool whilst dealing with this. And that's a difficult thing to do, simply because it just is such an exciting proposition, and they know that probably Doctor Who is the most desired old film reels that they could possibly find, probably in the world at the moment. And so it's difficult to just keep your cool, keep your temper, and not, as you say, Dan, scare people away. These are really delicate negotiations. If what we're hearing is correct, these are film collectors who've had these episodes for years, probably decades, and in some cases might even have been nervous about admitting it and actually letting them back into the world. And so these are really, really delicate negotiations that are going to be going on behind the scenes.
Because for a time there was always the risk, wasn't there? Because the people who own this material, they didn't legitimately acquire it. It wasn't paid for. It wasn't licensed. These are film collectors who enjoy. It's not even necessarily about what's on the films. It's the acquiring of them, the preservation of them, the projection of them. When you speak to, and I don't know many, I know a couple of people who are really into film, but not to the extent that these guys clearly are. And I think that the involvement there of John Franklin, being a film enthusiast and collector himself, knowing how they feel, being one of them, and the language that they would find appealing, how to communicate with them, I suppose, and knowing about the things that will prey on their minds, preoccupy them when it comes to, if you remember, there used to be sort of amnesties for things like this, didn't the BBC offering up a Dalek or hard cash or whatever. I mean, Sue Malden spoke on the Missing Episodes podcast about the idea that people could be potentially prosecuted, because that was something that was obviously hanging in the air for a while, David. And that's, you know, people don't want to have that hanging over them over something as simple as that. And Sue said, I am so pleased. There's been clearly a massive turning of the tide. I am so pleased that the BBC now is taking such a positive attitude, and no recrimination anywhere. No, how did you get this? None of those questions are being asked at all. Everybody is just so pleased that someone has saved this material. Could make a difference.
And that's the important thing, because, look, I don't want to get all legal here, but the Theft Act of 1968 is quite straight about this. It can be an offence. And people have been arrested for it. People have been charged for it, for taking things out of skips, because it still belongs to the BBC until it is junked, when it becomes the property of the person who's junking it, i.e. putting it in landfill or incinerating it. So if you just worked for the BBC, that could be even worse, because it would be then theft by employee, which is a more serious offence, because there's a position of trust there. But you're absolutely right, Dan, in the fact that people would have been nervous about it, and the way that I think that Film is Fabulous, having listened, this podcast was one of my dreams. It was it appealed to my geek nature completely, because it was a professional archivist, an academic, and a film collector. So it ticks all the boxes with respect to Radio 4 meets Open University. So it was absolutely marvelous. And the key thing we have to remember here is they're going in, and I think it's really important if I may just skip back a point, I think it's really important that there is an academic institution with respect to De Montfort University in Leicester that is behind this project and supporting it, because they can go in and say, look, we understand that this is your legacy. You have built this up. These are your cigarette cards. These are your Doctor Who Target collection. These are your cups that you mugs that you may have collected. These are your prize possession, and we would like to see your legacy live on. And they're having very, very sensitive and sometimes quite sad conversations with relatives and people who might be in end of life care or who have been seriously unwell and are very, very nervous about the potential recriminations from the Jobsworths of old that they may have worked for.
Yeah.
And with the film collector, as you quite rightly said, point of view going in, knowing how to phrase it, there's an academic institution behind it, there's a professional archivist with respect to Sue Malden, there's also the fact that they are now a charitable trust, and they're saying, look, we aren't interested in just cherry picking anything. We want all of your collection, even if it's of some British rail locomotives from the 1950s.
I think that's the difference in placing a value on the fact that the collector has done this, amassed all this in the first place, Gary, and when it's attached to sentimentality, because I think particularly men get like this about inanimate objects, machinery, projectors. I think it's similar to trains, as David was mentioning there. You've got people who worked in the television industry. In some cases, they either were involved in the broadcast or projection of television or film, and they handled these reels in the first place. And it's like, oh, well, I was however many years old, or this was from my first job, or that was so the sentimentality attached to it as well. And that seems to exist in the TV industry too. I mean, they mentioned specifically another piece of TV history, that the very first series of The Avengers, and another Sidney Newman creation, The Avengers, ran all the way through the 60s, started in 61. Most of the first season doesn't exist, but it seems to be the case that John Franklin says here we're aware of a couple of early episodes of The Avengers, one of which is complete. That particular person is a former industry person that was actually involved in the production and broadcast of the episodes. So after 60, somebody said that for 60 years, just like Sarah said, it's going to be, yes, it's an object imbued with so much more.
Yeah. They said that, I think, was it John Franklin who said, I know that episode exists, I've seen it. So it's not just him randomly speculating. And I think out of the entire series of the Avengers, I think only 2 of the episodes actually exist. So yeah, something like that is a great find. You know, the one thing that impressed me most when I was listening to that podcast is these people don't let their own fandom and interest in film and film preservation overrun their humanitarianism. I mean, they're primarily concerned with treating each of the collectors, whose every case is different, you know, with respect and care and concern, knowing when to kind of step back, knowing when to apparently, I mean, a lot of these collectors who contact them don't want their collections cataloged necessarily. They just want advice for what they should do about it. So you're right, Dan, like you said, it's like this organization isn't like a pack of locusts who come in and cherry pick the hot stuff and, you know, say good luck with the rest, which is why I think they really are playing the long game here. It's like how we deal with each of the collectors now is going to affect, they need to let everybody in that community know that these are people of integrity to deal with. They have these events where other collectors can kind of hear about it. And that's the way they're going to expand. Once they expand the comfort level that people have in dealing with them, that's only going to be to their benefit, because then collectors will go, oh yeah, Film Fabulous is great for your collection. And so I think they're really playing the long game here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
John Franklin went. Oh, sorry, Charlotte. I've got this quote here from John Franklin, who specifically addressed their attitude towards whole collections here. We are actively discussing their whole collections. We're not going to just take either the Avengers or the Doctor Who. You know, the principle's the same. We're not just going to take the Doctor Who. We're talking about the whole collections coming in, being catalogued, and being in and managed in the way that they manage everything. So put through an administrative process, a procedure. There's nothing that the British do better than procedure, I think. So I hope that this is a positive that your listeners take out of this. He told Tim on the podcast. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think the word is trust at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think the BBC, throughout the years, has done multiple things to lose that trust when it comes to either fans that have got these, or ex-production people, or sort of the people that have clearly gone out their way to save these things. When you've got somebody from the BBC knocking at your door, I think there's a barrier there. There's something that's stopping them from wanting to even let them look at these things. Whether, like you said, they're scared of the BBC might go to the police, or do that aspect of it, the legal aspect, or just they've been funny about rights in the past with Classic Who. Like, how much do they? We've had whole debates about why stuff disappearing off the iPlayer, and that's all because of legal issues. That's all because the BBC, if you hear to some of these rights holders, are not playing very nice, or they're being very greedy, or you hear all these stories, even if they're not true, but you hear the stories. So that's going into all these people's heads. So as soon as the Filming's Fabulous stuff started to surface, I even said to myself, who are they going to trust more? A talking head from the BBC, or somebody who can say, no, we're doing this because we care, because we want to preserve, because we actually realise how much effort you've done and how much you treasure these things. And there's the other aspect, which is the human, which we've talked about, which I didn't even realise, the idea of some of these collections, the people have passed away that originally had them. So you're dealing with the family. And if it was your dad, if it was your mum, if it was your brother or sister, you would want to protect. You would want to do the best, because you know how much it meant to your family member.
Yeah, so it represents them to some extent.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I think we finally got a group that has got a good trust. And I think they're going to really know that, and really sort of not take advantage of that, is the vibe I'm getting.
One thing I just shook my head. I go, wow, what an effort. They said so many of what they get is either unmarked or mismarked. And if you have a collection of 6,000, 10,000 reels, they have to look at every one to actually verify what's on there. It's not like they're going to see a box that says Power of the Daleks 1 to 6. You know, it's not that straightforward.
No, it's not that easy. Yeah, but one thing I wanted to say, and it was going back to what you said, Charlotte. I actually met the academic that was on Filming Fabulous, Justin Smith, at De Montfort University, because I don't know if you remember, I went to a Pride and Prejudice event a few years ago, and he was in charge of that, and he has got so many things to do with Pride and Prejudice, all these records, Andrew Davies scripts, and you know, they look after them. They are in the archives, and the passion and the understanding. You know, he's a really decent bloke. And like what you were saying, Dan, about him keeping calm with a load of Doctor Who fans. Well, imagine a gaggle of Pride and Prejudice fans talking about Colin Firth's wet T-shirt. You know,
yeah, they're worse.
I don't know, Gary. There isn't a MILF that frightens me, mate. I can promise you.
They've got the constitution of an ox. So yeah, they're lovely people, really lovely people. And again, like Charlotte was saying, they elicit trust, understanding, empathy. The last thing you want, I mean, we want to see these episodes. Of course we do. But I don't think any Doctor Who fans want to be like circling like vultures. Just wait. We're above that. This is going to take time.
The majority
and
of us,
understanding.
are. I mean, it would seem from an account in the podcast there with Tim that there have been a couple of our number that have let us down, but for the most part, I think that we seem to get it. We definitely seem to get it, but obviously we want to know as much as we can. They're not able to say much, but they have said something. And wow, is this something? Okay, so John Franklin said, we are aware of several collectors, plural, with several episodes of Doctor Who that are missing from the archive, plural, that are in private collections and with former industry professionals. So that's a number of people, each with a number of missing episodes in their possession, which Film is Fabulous are looking to bring back to their rights holders, to the BBC archives, and in time, before our eyes, Simon.
I think the thing that has struck me with this particular story, as you know, and from this statement that you just read out, is that, as we've mentioned previously, a few minutes ago, we sort of talked about how rumours have been flying around about these missing episodes for years. We've been talking about it on Type 40 for years. And we've always sort of hoped and we prayed, and in a few instances it has come true. But we've always felt in our hearts, okay, these are just rumours. And probably there's not going to be any truth in it. We've heard all the rumours before. When this Film is Fabulous story broke, was it a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? My first instinct immediately was, oh yeah, okay, here we go again. I've heard this so many times. I'm not going to believe this simply because we've been here too many times and it's never turned out to be right. The difference now, and this has only really emerged over the past few days, is this now just seems to be an absolute statement of facts. It's not a rumor anymore. It's not speculation. It's not hollow. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind whatsoever now that these episodes are known. The episodes we're talking about, they know what they are. They know where they are. They're in the process of sort of cataloguing them, tracking them down, etc. But this is an absolute given now. This is not speculation. It's not rumour. It's not optimism. It's a statement of fact. I mean, no doubt the episodes are out there. We've always known them. I mean, I've personally been saying for years, I'm in no doubt whatsoever there are more episodes out there. But whether we were ever going to see any of them was that was the doubt. And that's where the doubt has now gone. So I'm in zero doubt this will ultimately come to fruition. These episodes, some episodes, maybe not all of them. I think we have to be realistic here. If we're talking several collectors and several episodes, we have to accept that maybe some of them will remain elusive, even to Film is Fabulous, and they just won't, that they won't be relinquished by the collectors. But I'm in no doubt whatsoever there are episodes on the way back at some point in the future. This is now a fact.
It's like, Simon, you've got the vibe, there's a game plan to that term, and they're very much in it, and we're just getting tiny snippets of it now coming up.
But they're being very clear, aren't they, Charlotte? They're not sort of saying, we think there's stuff out there, we're going looking for it. They are saying they are there. In effect, they're pretty much saying we know where they are, and we're now negotiating. And that's what they say in the podcast. They basically say, look, please let us do our work. We're on the case. We're sorting this for you, and you will be amazed. But just give us the room to do this. So they're being very clear. It's a fact.
It's very clear, but it's very lucid. And again, very measured and precise. We live in an age full of bullshit. Everybody is bullshitting us all the time. So I appreciate it when three individuals get together to have a casual chat with someone on equal terms like that, and just tell one another as much as they can in plain English, in the right spirit. And I do feel that's translating in every interaction that Film is Fabulous are having with everyone else, with the public, potential donors, and certainly Doctor Who fans. That statement again that is ringing in the ears of every Doctor Who fan. We are aware of several collectors, plural, with several episodes of Doctor Who that are missing from the archive, plural, that are in private collections with former industry professionals. And you can get all of that statement in context there on the Missing Episodes podcast special edition with the three from Film is Fabulous and the host Tim over there. So it really is fascinating in context. Obviously the context that we're not going to bring you all that. We want you to go and hear it from them, from the horses' mouths, so to speak. And our full credit, obviously, to Tim Burrows for his extraordinary work and swift action on this. I think all of them have gauged the mood absolutely correctly. But it's also ridiculously exciting.
I think the other thing that really should be pointed out here, and it's the thing that more than anything for me lends all of this such a degree of authenticity, and that's the connection with Sue Malden. What we've got to remember, and we actually we need to sort of go down on our knees and sort of praise Sue Malden, because without Sue Malden coming into the BBC archive in the late 70s and stopping the junking that was happening, at this point when Sue Malden arrived, the junking was absolutely at its height. She suddenly clocked what was going on, and she, to me, we Doctor Who fans talk about Sue Malden and know of her, but I actually think she is one of the unsung heroes of Doctor Who. We should be praising her more and more.
She's a bit of a guardian angel of Doctor Who fans.
Yes,
I think, and obviously has had a relationship again with friend of the show, Ian Levine. Together they've cooperated, I
absolutely,
suppose, on this. And educating the rest of us to some degree. And Sue's been very indulgent and patient with us. So she was in archiving for a number of decades, and I understand now is mainly retired. But no, you're quite right. We've spoken about her several times on the show, haven't we, Charlotte? It's one of those names, one of those faces.
Well, it just takes a real strong, powerful person to go into that atmosphere, like you said, at the height of it, when they clearly around her didn't realise what they were destroying, and to basically say, no, this stops. Like, especially back in that day.
Yes.
I said this about a lot of women to do a Classic Who's run, that when they were in, whether it's our creators that we've got to thank for, or the actresses, or just all these production people, when they were in that job, it took power to stand up to that atmosphere and those men and that sort of thing of, okay, love, we'll do what you say, but not really. Like, you had to be powerful. So yeah, she's definitely one of those breed, and Doctor Who's actually got such a strong history of having women like that, which is, I find, amazing as a female fan. I always do.
And I can. Sorry, Gary, go on.
No, I was just really quick. They say during the show that the podcast that she was retired in Greece or something.
Yes,
she came out of retirement to come back and help them in this endeavor.
And that's, as I say, that, Gary, is why I sort of take her connection with this, her association with this whole program as the stamp of authenticity. That to me is the proof, the evidence that it is a legitimate, genuine story that has to be taken seriously, because simply Sue Malden would not put her name to this if she wasn't certain of what they were doing here.
And I think Sue also is able to relate to a certain generation. And
yes,
this was my grandfather's generation. He was a glider pilot in the Second World War. Absolutely crazy thing to do, to be in a matchbox as they were termed, and to be towed without an engine over enemy lines as part of D-Day and given a service revolver and told, good luck. And his generation, and I remember my grandfather's saying this to me, is that especially after the hardship of the Second World War and the fact that rationing carried on till 1953, that generation hated to see things destroyed and thrown away when they were in perfectly good order. And Sue talked about a projectionist in Sheffield, of whom I believe had a Laurel and the first appearance of a film of of Oliver Hardy that kept in his outhouse, because he was a projectionist in Sheffield and he couldn't deal with the fact that this reel would be thrown away after it had been shown, and he felt that he needed to preserve it. Now, if Sue is able to say to that generation and empathize and say, look, I stopped this from going on at the BBC, and I stopped them throwing out stuff that we needed to keep. And that's that little bit of sort of byplay that a faceless BBC talking head would probably not have with a fellow collector, with somebody who's collecting. We want your tape back, please. Here's a Dalek. No, thank you.
I think you're right, David. I think, unfortunately, the BBC is not respected in that form these days. No. They don't. That they are seen as the kind of organisation that is mercenaristic and will not do the kind of delicate negotiations that are required here. That one feels that they would go in very heavy-handedly, very proprietorial. It's ours to begin with. You owe it back to us, kind of thing. And unfortunately, the BBC just doesn't have the kind of respect or admiration or trust into the wider world. I think actually that it thinks it does have. I think it still lives in this cloud cuckoo land, that it has that Auntie Beeb, and it doesn't realise that it went decades ago. And you need somebody, you're right, Dave, you need somebody who is much more of a personal face like Sue, with a much softer, more empathetic approach to go in and do and work on these kind of projects, because they're so delicate.
Yeah, and I think that works. And as we've said, with the backing of an academic institution and a film collector, I think it's. And let's not forget, these people are volunteers. They're doing this as well as their day job. So it's in their own time, and a lot of their own money has been put into it as well. So that they're able to say, look, we are not the establishment. So, and they're trying to win over trust. And I think it's wholly admirable and lovely. It puts a warm feeling in your heart, really, doesn't it?
I'm sure you can tell we're just as excited about all this as you are, just as intrigued too by the story of Film is Fabulous and how this is all come to being. Really, it's revolutionary in many respects, and what it could mean for the future in time. So we'll talk some more, I think, once we've sort of taken stock of what we've all said and processed a little. We're going to check in with the people in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. I know they've got lots to say about our discussion as well. So let's go and see what they've got to say and where their heads are at such a heady time to be a Doctor Who fan.
Perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. The Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
What have they found? What could be lurking, ready to be prized away from the metal and the dust and the rust? They're just in the nick of time. These heroic efforts, delicate procedures that are undertaken to return lots of film and television and sounds like definitely some Doctor Who in the mix. We know you've got plenty to say about it, just as we have. So yes, here we are on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Lots of comments I see, and Louis Wright straight in with very measured, thoughtful.
Yeah, but I
missive
don't know
there.
which story he wants. I'm really like confused.
Give
Bit
me
clearer,
fury.
please.
Give me fury in all caps, says Louis Wright. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Louis. So let's see what else we've got here. Lots of people with lots to say. Obviously, says George Rainey. Obviously, the reason the BBC are holding back Blu-ray sets for those seasons, I don't believe that's the case myself, but as fortune would have it, I mean, it could work out. I think they'll be marketing any material that comes back very broadly at first. So no, I personally don't think that's the case. I think that when things do start to appear, they'll appear in their own right and then take their place in a broader collection. But I think that's a step after the next step after the next step along the line. Give me fury, give me fury. Rejoice, says Stephen Braddock. He's got the party poppers right already there for Stephen, Gary.
I'd love Fury to come back too. I mean, it's, of course, anytime even the remote possibility of these things being within our grasp, you know, our excitement's going to go off the scale. But, you know, I think one of the most important things from the that podcast is that, you know, there's a long road from being we are aware of to we've recovered it and returned it to the BBC in this case. There's a long process there.
We've got a question here from Lipsin Ear Now, who says a big question regarding showing rights. Should anything be found and shown? Who gets the rights to show it? Film is Fabulous or the BBC? Now, we know that Film is Fabulous are staging as part of their program, their expansion, as part of their business model, I suppose, their charitable model. They are going to be staging events and having their own merchandise and things like that. But, I mean, Simon, you're from the TV industry. I've got my instincts, but what's the truth in this? I think I know, but can you fill in the gaps?
Well, obviously, we don't know what the truth is. My gut feeling is that what will be happening is that Film is Fabulous will be negotiating with the various collectors with regards to, in effect, passing the rights back to the original rights owners, and that's what they talk about, which would be the BBC. And so I don't think there's I don't think we're likely to see a situation where Film is Fabulous are kind of suddenly getting hold of these episodes in their own right and then trying to sort of make money off the back of them. That is going to open up all manner of disastrous legal ramifications. So I'm in no doubt whatsoever that, yeah, what Film is Fabulous are doing is what they say they're doing, which is negotiating the rights to go back to the BBC so that then the BBC can, yes, make use of these episodes on broadcast, streaming, home media, etc.
We've got another one here from Stephen Braddock who says we've waited 12 years. I can be very patient, and I think this is just the beginning. Patience is definitely a virtue. Sarah, how do you think we're going to get on?
Yeah, it kind of feels like with the 12th Doctor in the confession dial right now. I mean, what's a few more years? We've waited this long.
Exactly.
We know they're on the right track. Things are coming, so I am happy to wait. I'm not in any way. It's got to be done in the right way. I personally wouldn't enjoy it if it was, you know, done all gung-ho, all guns blazing and not being respectful. We want everybody to be happy. We want all parties to be happy.
Yeah.
I'll be happy. Fans will be happy. But yeah, it just means we might have to be sitting on our hands for a little bit longer. But hey, we're Doctor Who fans. This is what we do.
Bill Silver,
can manage it.
Bill Silver, great minds think alike. A patience is both a virtue and a pain in the arse. Just don't wake up tomorrow and expect to know what they are. That isn't going to happen.
No.
I'm as desperate to know as soon as possible as much as anyone. Thank you for that comment, Bill. Welcome to Type 40. The Kate AD of Doctor Who, says Peter Harrington.
Yeah, that's Sue Malden. Definitely, you are right, Peter.
And Stephen O'Neill reminds us that Patrick Troughton's turn as Robin Hood is also missing from the BBC archives. You never know; they may discover they could discover all manner of things. Lips. I'm gonna have to start calling you Lips. Lips says donate to film is fabulous. Yeah, and there are links in the description as well. Chris Chatfield's back in the live chat. Hi, Chris. Long time no see. Actually, finding a Dalek episode might be hopeful due to the volume of stories with them in.
Yeah.
The fact skip takers sort those out is another factor. Did they seek those out?
Well, I mean, interesting. Well, of course, interestingly, the first kind of recovered story, as it were, is the Daleks, which was taken from a skip pretty much by Ian Levine. So I think, as I recall, he knew that there were lots out there, and he sort of zoned in on that one because it was the Daleks. There's an element of truth in that, I think.
Yeah, and a few people have said in the chat, it's very telling that with the 10th planet, the one that's sort of missing and has been mentioned a lot in fan circles is the part where he regenerates, and you can't help but think maybe somebody in the know, maybe somebody who knew exactly that episode was going to get junked and what it meant might have stepped in. You sort of think the romantic side of you likes to think that. Anyway.
Peter Venkman fan site is back in the live chat, now abbreviated to PVFS, which sounds filthy. That sounds like something you'd buy in one of those shops. Sarah, wow, I've just asked you for confirmation.
Why did you come to me with that?
Yeah, what do you think about that, Sarah?
Sarah, absolutely.
I'm speechless.
It's you or me. It tends to be one of us.
I don't know what we do to deserve this, Charlotte. I really don't.
Outrageous.
The assumption is that this is involving one type of collector when they could be dealing with different types. Of course, they will be dealing with different types.
I think actually
nobody's claimed that.
Yeah, I think actually it's quite the contrary. They seem to be clearly saying there are lots of different types of collectors out there, some of whom are industry professionals. So I think they are saying actually film is fabulous. Are saying there's lots of different collectors that we're now dealing with.
Thank you, Sue Malden. Lots of that in the live chat over and over again. Unknown protector, not that unknown. You know, she's made several statements, several public appearances. With Ian Levine as well, so this is a known thing. Lots of.
But she should be honest, Dan. She should be OBE by now. Let's be honest. She should be OBE.
Dame Sue Malden.
Dame, yeah.
Who fandom 7021 says the priority is to preserve them as soon as possible in digital form. Yeah, because I suppose some of them could be degrading, Gary. They could be.
Well, didn't they say on the cast that they prioritize everything? So the stuff that's in danger of either being tossed or degraded is the stuff that they try to focus on first. They say if something in their mind is safe, then they can kind of focus for now on other things.
But it is worrying, Gary, because some of these film prints, we're talking about are 60 plus years old in some cases, and film, as we know, it does degrade because of the nature of what it's made of. It degrades, it falls apart, and unfortunately, there are cases where occasionally films have just been taken out of film cans and just crumbled to dust. Well, because it's just disintegrated.
I mean,
that's what's worrying.
They admit, didn't they, Simon? They said they know that most of these collections are not kept in optimal.
Of course, they're not
conditions like temperature, light.
It's only true museum archival facilities that are going to be keeping them in true archival conditions. So people just keeping them in their loft or in a cupboard or whatever. Not good.
And it is of interest that they could recover, discover, retain better copies of material that we already have. That's
Yeah.
also something that's bound to happen too. But they mention that separately, don't they? They know the material that we're asking about, that we're thinking about. We've got, obviously there are different opinions to this. I mean, Domgo in the live chat here says, always ready with a negative take. Personally, I think it's disgraceful that probate collectors have sat on these cultural riches while fans of the show have passed away and never seen them. Well, that's a fact of life. It's a fact of reality.
Yeah.
They didn't exist before. To the people who've gone before us and who are sadly not with us anymore, to them they were gone, and now they may exist again. I don't think we should look at it like that, Simon. I thank you for the comment, Don. But I think this is. I just think this is an unnecessary grievance to hold. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I would look at it is that I think for people who have held on to these episodes because they were nervous of passing them back because they didn't quite know what the ramifications were going to be or what their situation was legally, etc. Total sympathy with them, no problem at all. If, and it is a big if, there are collectors out there who have deliberately held this back simply to be selfish. That I think, and I think that's probably what Domgo is alluding to here. That's very, very sad, and it would break my heart to think that would have happened. It is possible that that's happened, but, and here is the big but, if now one hopes that those collectors who may have sat on it in the past and just not wanted to pass it back, if they have now been persuaded round and they've changed their minds and they've realized that no, actually the right and proper thing to do here is to pass them back so we can all enjoy them, then I don't care what happened in the past. Thank you very much for handing them back to us now. Okay, you held on to them for 30 years. I can live with that. If you're now going to surrender it and share it with us all, does it really matter what's happened in the past? That's the way I would look at it.
There are people in the live chat here that are questioning the legitimacy of Film is Fabulous itself.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
I'm not going to... I suppose if you haven't read, if you haven't heard, the links again are in the show notes and the video description here. We can lead a horse to water, but we can't make it drink. Go and read for yourself. Again, I can't recommend enough. You go and check out this podcast with Tim Beddoes. It is worth your time. If you're taking the time to ask the questions here of us and to voice those concerns, which I think are unnecessary, but different strokes for different folks, then take the time to go and seek the answers. Go and check them out. It's all perfectly legitimate. There's no double play. There's nobody's pretending to be somebody that they're not. But go and find out for yourselves. It's all the information is there. They're being mega, mega transparent here, and that's several people in the live chat, which I'm not going to address you personally, but take the time to go and find out. Daniel Cox speculates. He's one of lots of people, David, that are speculating on numbers and titles, which again is human nature. What were you going to say?
Yeah, and the thing is, Dan, they didn't need to be transparent. They didn't need to come out and do this, and that's all credit to them for doing so. Sorry.
I think the other way I would look at it, David, and I think it's totally fair. It's legitimate to ask these questions. We're all kind of nervous fans, and we're just sort of thinking, "Oh, flip it! Are we just being hoodwinked here?" I think that actually is normal human nature. The way I look at it is. These people, the people from Film is Fabulous, Sue Malden in particular, as I said earlier, simply would not be putting their names up to the world to be saying what they're doing and what in effect they're promising us. They wouldn't do that because they know that if this turned out to be some hoax, they would be lynched. So that to me, they're going on podcasts, they're releasing their own personal names, they're talking. These aren't faceless people. It isn't the BBC. These are specific individuals, and so they simply wouldn't be putting their names on the line if there wasn't some truth, if there wasn't truth in this. Sorry, go Charlotte.
Yeah, and I think that some of these questions are because this is a new way that we're seeing happening in front of us for missing episodes to come.
Yes.
For years and years, you've had sort of the way it's sort of been painted in fandom, at least. You've had your likes of these lone sort of people like Ian Levine or Philip Morris being like these adventurers almost, going out there in the world and finding these episodes in far-flung countries. Like, that's what we're used to. So to actually have a group, to actually have a university involved, to have arcanist involved, to have all these different people coming together. We're not used to having that for Doctor Who.
It's never happened.
Episodes. So I think we're sort of on a precipice of this new age, really.
Yeah.
And we're all a bit nervous and we're not quite sure. And we just have to let it play out and see what they can do. But the fact that it's a team, the fact that we've all said they seem to have the best intentions.
Yeah.
This is probably the most positive and best chance we're going to get for a long time to get.
Possibly forever. This, I kind of feel this is the last chance saloon, to be honest, Charlotte. I think this is it. This is
it. It would appear that largely, generally speaking, most archives in the world that are able to be searched for this material, for any material, have been searched. Robin Calvert is watching on YouTube there in the live chat, and again says it will reassure the collectors. So those collectors that they're establishing relationships with and with the families of, that Sue Malden, the one who started archiving at the BBC, is a trustee. That was the word I couldn't quite get a grasp of. Trustee of film is fabulous. All of these things all line up. David and Charlotte are spot on. Adds Stephen O'Neill. We have to be very careful and manage fan expectations, bearing in mind all the legal aspects. We have to give Film is Fabulous their time and space to the collectors. Yeah, of course. Let's go check out some more. What else have we got? Yeah, I mean, obviously the flickering images. It's all very romantic, isn't it? Of black and white episodes of Doctor Who that we've only seen in telesnap form or we've heard. You know, I love all those projects. I love the telesnaps. I sincerely do. And, you know, we're big advocates. We're big supporters of the things that Ian Levine and his team have achieved over the last 18 months. It really is extraordinary. All Doctor Who in the Mid-Journey too. Lots of people employing all manner of skills, creative endeavors, or marshalling enormous sort of communities to get together and to bring those stories back to life however they can. But, you know, I'm sure you've seen Ian Levine's made a statement as well. The actual episodes themselves, though, are different. They're a different thing. They're relics in some respects, but they are legitimate slices of our precious show's long history. Who Fandom says this one is great, but I meant the missing episodes one. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Praise redacted. Thank you. Thank you so much to Sue Malden. There's lots of this in the live chat as well. Sue Malden being linked to this is proof positive. It's on the level for those few doubters. There are a few doubters, and people remembering the Omni rumor, the dreaded Omni rumor. Yes, Chris Ryan's Film is Fabulous. It's not just about Doctor Who. It's the preservation of all film. And there's an account of the various films they've already managed to save and preserve. There are lots of lists to go and check out. This isn't the Omni rumor again. No, it isn't. Have faith. Dare to dream. There's a curious case there in the live chat. Bob Meister is also here in the live chat. Going into treble figures here. There's not treble missing. And Lips says, please don't be negative about Film is Fabulous. John is a genuine person and he's so responsive. He's nothing to hide. They will come up with the goods. And Matthew Pounder says that questions are never unnecessary. No, I understand. I understand what you mean. But I don't know. I don't know how much more information does one need. I think you should take the win now and again. Matthew is what I'm saying. Take the win.
I think maybe part of it, Dan, is just that we're almost all afraid to hope for the best here with this. We have been burnt so many times with this. Yeah. People are possibly asking questions simply because they almost can't, they daren't believe that this is actually real and it is going to happen. It is a bit of a pinch yourself moment, I feel, this at the moment.
Sort of Boy Who Cried Wolf, Simon.
Little bit. Yeah. We've been
all this being said is, of course, you know, we're all genuinely excited about this, but I wonder if Film is Fabulous would be doing themselves a favor if, while they're saying let us get on with it, they don't make any more comments like,
I would agree.
You're really going to be happy with what we've found, or something's coming soon. Don't feed it out like that.
I would
want
agree.
them to say nothing until an announcement saying this is what we recovered and we've returned it to the BBC. Until then, don't do all the little kind of.
I agree. They've said enough, haven't they, Gary? They've said enough.
And don't give a date, for goodness sake.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, none of us are mind readers, and neither are they. Come to think of it, the good people at Film is Fabulous, the trustees, everybody involved, and they're adding to their team as well. There are full details of that over on the podcast in question as well, and all the everything that we've told you about, and lots more context, lots more expertise, insight. It's all there. We can't recommend you go and listen to that enough, really. So let's have a look again. So what has been said, and by who? It's the crux of the matter. What we really want to know, what we were delighted to see, is we are aware. Say, Film is Fabulous, and John Franklin in particular. We are aware of several collectors, plural, with several episodes of Doctor Who that are missing from the archive, plural, several people with several episodes each that are in private collections and with former industry professionals. A lot to be excited about, a lot to be hopeful of, as long as we do the sensible thing, manage our expectations. And that was largely, I think, what they want us to remember. John Franklin also went on to say, give us the space to conclude the things we're doing. You will be very, very happy with the announcements when they come. But we just need the space to be able to do that now. Give the gentlemen, all of them, their space, some time, support them, donate if you can, and monitor their social medias, interact, and see what may be coming next. Charlotte, it's febrile.
Like I said at the top of the show, it's like we're on the precipice. Something is coming.
Yeah.
And it's that excitement. It's sort of like being a kid again. Because I mentioned Christmas again. It's sort of that feeling of you know it's a week away. You know it's a couple of days away. You don't know what you're going to get under the tree. And you have to wait for the day. And I think we're all a little bit like kids at the moment with this story. But it's a lovely feeling. And I've said this to a few people. To have just a good news story for Doctor Who, whatever it turns out to be.
Heck, it needs it, doesn't it, Charlotte?
Yeah, just that we can just all talk about something together, which we're all absolutely pleased about, that we're all excited about, and just to have that feeling again in Doctor Who. That's sort of my takeaway from this news story at the moment. It's been gorgeous just to have that feeling again.
Indeed.
But I do have to go. So it's been lovely to chat with everybody on the panel and in our...
Good night, Charlotte.
Good night, Charlotte.
Night, Charlotte.
Good night, Charlotte. Night.
Bye-bye.
So this is where the land lies. This is where we are with this Type 40's position on this is our full support to Film is Fabulous. Links from now on appearing across all our content and pinned in our communities too. Similarly with our fellow podcaster Tim over there on the Missing Episodes podcast. It's probably podcast of the year, hands down. Go and check it out. Go and take it in. There is no one better place to be the sort of conduit between Film is Fabulous and broader fandom than this gentleman. After years of establishing connections and possessing a great depth of knowledge himself, here on Type 40, we'll continue to publish our own coverage of the Missing Episodes too, as we always have. It's too much of a fun topic to leave behind, isn't it, Simon?
Well, absolutely. As I say, we've been talking about this ever since Type 40 began. We've been talking, Doctor Who fans have been talking about it for decades. So it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And this just makes it all the more exciting. I just don't think it's odd in that suddenly the bad taste that seems to have been left by kind of New Who for a lot of us is suddenly all cleansed and washed clear. And you know what? None of that rubbish that we were being fed matters now, because what actually matters is suddenly we're all excited. We are what is being achieved now is what New Who has failed to achieve, current modern Who has failed to achieve, which is bringing fans together, because now we are all unified in one direction and we're all so excited about something. And it's brilliant, finally, to be a Doctor Who fan again after so many years.
Well, when you say all, do you really mean all? Really?
Yes, Dan. I mean,
you just have to bring it down.
Even that doesn't bother me anymore. Even that, I don't care.
A reminder that on our playlists and over at type40.podbean.com, you can check out our back catalogue, our coverage of the missing episodes too, including talks with friend of the show, Richard Molesworth. And we'll continue to have those conversations when we can. Of course, we're going to give all parties the space they need to oil their various wheels there at Film is Fabulous, refine those methods, grow their reputation, and extend those trusts. And we'll simply support and offer any commentary we can, wherever and however is appropriate and helpful, Sarah. I think that's all we can do.
It is, yeah. It's very much, yeah, you kind of just got to leave them to their own devices, and to keep going, we can't keep, as obsessive as we are as fans, we're just going to drive each other crazy. So it is best just to, there's only so much speculation you can do.
Yeah, but the fun speculation we can do, Sarah, is guessing which episodes are coming back. That's where the fun starts.
That's always fun, yeah. But I don't want to be. I won't want to be talking about this every week. Have you heard anything yet? Have you heard anything yet? It's I couldn't take it.
No, it's too stressful. That is.
No, but just knowing that something is happening.
Yeah.
The wheels are in motion now. That is good enough for me. And like you were saying, what a lovely week it's been just to hear. Everybody seems to be optimistic, and I've not felt anything like this, honestly, buzz-wise, since I would say the 50th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
It feels that potent.
Yeah, I agree.
That optimistic and exciting, and let's just hold on to that feeling for a bit, because God knows,
correct,
we've needed it these past couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is low-hanging fruit, everybody, but everyone else is joining in with this, including in the live chat there on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, and X. I've got the question: which is the missing story in its entirety that we would most like to see returned to the archives, either now or then, wherever then may be? If you just pick one, Sarah. Have you got one?
Just one. Well, yeah, but you know what I'm going to say.
One.
Marco Polo. It's got to be, because we haven't got anything on Marco Polo, whether it's complete or not. Just something, just so we can see. It's the jewel of the crown, and I just love, especially now I've seen that tunic and I know what colour it was.
You want to see the caravan, don't you? You want to see the caravan.
Exactly, dear. I can't live without seeing what that caravan look like.
Sarah, I am with you. My pick would be Marco Polo as well, and I think it's because the telesnap reconstruction. I mean, that was compelling. I couldn't take my eyes off that. So heaven knows what any moving images may look like, how that'll make me feel. So I'm completely with you there. How about you, David? Have you got that one story that you lie awake at night thinking about?
Yeah, and I'm going for a different reason. The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve.
Wow.
Apparently,
that's a deep cut.
Yeah. Apparently, because Bill Hartnell played, obviously, the Abbot of Amboise, and apparently he gave one of his all-time brilliant performances playing that dual role. And I particularly love The Enemy of the World because, of course, Pat played the dual role in that.
I agree.
I would have loved to have seen Bill playing the Doddery Doctor, and then a completely different, brilliant take on the Abbot. And so that, for me, for purely sort of curiosity perspective, would be my pick.
Very interesting. I'd have been guessing all night, David. Thank you for that pick. Yeah, I think I might have to look at that story again. I've certainly got the soundtrack and the reconstruction. Gary, you're stroking your chin in deepest of thought.
Well, because I'm actually going to go for my number 2, because actually, David, very good choice. That was actually going to be my number 1, because it's a story that there's not a lot of telesnaps for. It's kind of a dark Hartnell historical. There is the guest stars in that story is Andre Morel, who played the best ever TV Quatermass. I'd like to see that. And I'd like to see it basically just for the wonderful like soliloquy that Hartnell gives at the very end of the story when he thinks Stephen's gone and he sits there reflecting on all of his companions who've been and gone. I would just so love to see that scene. And so that's my number 1. So I won't say that, but so I'm going to defer to only because I love Ben and Polly so much. I'll go for Power of the Doctor, because it's just the 2 of them with Troughton, and I would love to see kind of Troughton's first steps as the Doctor. So I think I'm going to kind of defer to that.
I have to stop you there, Gary, because that was a brilliant slip of the tongue. You said Power of the Doctor, which is a story that we probably all.
Oh, did I? Power of the Daleks. No. Power of the Daleks. No, Dan. That's cause for my immediate dismissal from the show. I were to say that, but
it's a great pick.
Power of the Daleks. Only because I mean, the only reason that wasn't my initial number 1 is because yes, it's not. We've not seen the actual episodes, but we've had the audio, we've had the animation, all that. So I feel in a lot of ways, I've seen it, except for not having seen it, if you know what I mean. So that's why I was going for something else that there's not really a lot out there about.
I couldn't agree. Oh God, now I might change my mind. Oh, Gary, what have you done? You've planted the seed of the doubt. Oh, Simon, help me out. Restore clarity.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind at all. The one story that I would love to see, if nothing else came back, other than Fury from the Deep, I think I would be happy. I am desperate to see Fury from the Deep, not least because it was actually transmitting when I was born. At the exact time that I was born, Fury from the Deep was on air. But I just love the Victor Pemberton's novelization is just majestic. The audio of it just sounds phenomenal. And to me, it feels like sort of the quintessential Patrick Troughton story. It sort of feels like the pinnacle of those base under siege Troughton monster stories. So I'm just absolutely desperate to see Fury from the Deep. That's a difficult choice because there's so many others. Marco Polo would be top of my list of certainly Hartnell's. So, but if I only had to pick one, and you're forcing me, it's Fury.
In the live chat here, we've had pretty much every story named, I think, by our fabulous commenters there. So thank you, everybody, for all of this. Would Marco Polo complete season 1?
Yes.
It would.
No, there's 2 missing episodes of Reign of Terror.
Oh, you're quite right.
Oh, yeah.
And the
says Louis Wright. Boo, says Matthew Pounder.
What did we say?
I've no idea.
I think that was aimed at
sorry,
Gary.
Matthew.
I think that was aimed at I apologize. I prostrate myself. I'm sorry that I said Power of the Doctor.
The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News suggests Richard Brooks. Well, no, please don't lose that. It's one of my favorite songs. Okay, yes. So, great selections. Or I don't think you can go far wrong, really. And maybe in time, some of our faith and patience will be rewarded. But as I've said, we can just send everybody at Film is Fabulous our best wishes, our congratulations to Tim and everybody who puts the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast together. And all the links to all of that is in the show notes and the video description. Get on it, as they say, and we'll be reminding you of that at regular junctions, checking in on them when we can and whatever it is that they're doing. And lots to talk about, something to get excited about. who knows what 2026, 2027, or whenever could bring, I suppose. Congratulations to Film is Fabulous on achieving status as a charity. That was the long game. We know how long that took. So that needs to be said. And they themselves have given love back to the Doctor Who fandom in the last day or two. Heartfelt thanks from the entire Film is Fabulous team to everyone who's donated to our cause, shared our posts, and supported us with positivity, because that's nice to hear as well, because not everybody can support in that way, but they may be able to support in others. Who knows what's coming back and when. We're going to leave it there for now. But again, take a look at the social medias. Check out the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast over there. Not just that special edition, lots of deep dives into the missing episodes, unparalleled knowledge. Tim's a great podcaster. Go and check that out. Go and follow them and tell them that Type 40 sent you by all means. And Film is Fabulous also all over the social medias, rolling out their various plans and subscriptions right now, and hinting at events and merchandise and all manner of things to come. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time in more ways than one. Okay, we're next. We're last. I know.
This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, this is the Type 40 podcast.
What a conversation. What a show. Thank you all. That's blown the dust away off the Type 40, hasn't it, everybody? It's great to have you all back for another round.
Good to be back.
Good to be back, absolutely.
Lovely.
Christmas is
Talk
looking
about fun
closer
stuff.
Christmas is looking closer on the calendar. We've got a lot more conversations to jam in between now and then. I feel, Simon. Right now, I'm still struck by your incredible jacket. Yeah, I can't wait to see some more pictures from yours and Sarah's trek to Peterborough.
Yeah, there's lots of photos to come, Dan. Don't you worry.
Trying to make it sound exotic, but yes, if the whole day you lost track of all of space and time. I think that has to be.
We did. Well, actually, it's worth pointing out that it's running sort of sessions. So there's a morning session, and then a lunchtime session, and then an afternoon session, and they close the exhibition down between the sessions. So I think it lasts for about an hour and a half. Was it, Sarah? Something like that.
We did get escorted out,
and we had to go back in. We had to go back in for the second
you were
session.
Escorted out, and there was various. You sure you didn't go into Spearmint Rhino by mistake?
I didn't want to mention this, but I knew it. I knew that there was going to be some time where Simon distracts the guards while Sarah grabs like the key to time and runs out the door. Something. Like
I tell you what, it was very tempting, Gary. There were
It
there were various things that I did try to steal, and sadly they were screwed to
I
the
didn't have a
wall.
big enough handbag, did I?
You can tell it's
Sarah's like, why didn't I bring my tote bag?
You can tell it's getting late because people are confessing all here in the live chat, and not least of all, Ian Scales. I actually like Power of the Doctor. What? Says
Somebody had to.
You can
I'll
stay.
tell you one thing though, Dan. One thing we did see this in this Cyberman display, because they'd got the Mondasian all the way to the most recent ones, including the silly ones, the Cyber Time Lords.
Yeah, they got the Cyber Time Lords in.
But they've got there was a black Cyberman. I think it was from Power of the Doctor. I can't remember it because I only watched the episode once. But the level of detail on it, they were all like this. Was it Gallifreyan engraving, Simon?
I don't know because I didn't look, Sarah. I was looking at the classics.
It looked beautiful, and I was just like, what a waste. I could appreciate, the effort they'd gone into it.
Where will it end? Where will the madness end? We'll let you know by Christmas, I suppose, if we make it through that long with all of our marbles still in their bags.
Oh, listen, Dan, I'm praying that we've got some sort of announcement before Christmas. I'm praying. that there's some news before Christmas. Yeah, good luck indeed.
Good luck indeed.
Hello and welcome. I will be off saving the universe, but while I am doing that, make sure you listen to, what was that, Chesterfield? Type 40. Yes.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Chesterfield.
If it isn't obvious by now, we are very much back. So come and say hello. Reach out to us through our social media. As always, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who there. As ever, get stuck in the Type 40 Facebook group too. They're talking about all of this there. Why wouldn't they be? Everyone is. Join the Type 40 Facebook group. Join in on that conversation. Start your own. Pick a fight. Plaster up some fan art or anything else. Have you been to Peterborough? I'm trying to make it sound as exotic as I can. Have you been to Peterborough? I sound like Coast of London, David, when I do that. Okay. Have you been to Peterborough too? Post up your pictures by all means, and you can compare notes with Sarah and Simon in due course. If you keep an eye on the podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts, you can get involved too in the podcasts and the live streams through the wonders of SpeakPipe. Leave us a message there, a question, suggestion, prediction, your fantasy picks for whatever missing stories may materialize, all in due time, I suppose. But that's how you can get involved with us. All the fun of the fair as ever. Check out earlier editions. We've got a lot of new people watching this time. Check out earlier editions of the show. Something for everyone, I'd like to say. Go and check out our review there, a deep dive look at Doctor Who and the Daleks to mark its 60th anniversary. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, we will be looking at the sequel next year. Of course we will. We've got our Ask Us Anything shows. They're back in a big way. Another one coming soon. So, you might want to scribble down a few things now while you can. And there's regular landmark shows too, where we go a little bit off-piste, like when we reviewed the Netflix movie, The Thursday Night Murder Club. Why did we look at that? Go and find out for yourselves there. Hit up the playlist, episode 250. And there's our regular editions as well, where we look at the news and keep taking the geeky pulse here in the Whoniverse and see what you're talking about and add our takes on it all as well and bring before you that which we can. So it's all there in the playlist. Over 250 episodes now and more to come before 2025 closes out, whether they like it or not. Support Film is fabulous if you can, however you can. Again, all the links there in the show notes and the video description. I look by the looks of their social media account, they're very grateful already. So every show of support that you can possibly muster, I think that's what they need. Just the awareness that people get it and are behind them. Right, Carol Ann? There you go. Of course, she knows exactly. I wonder what she's got in that glass. Something cold, I think. Yeah, I think we'll stick with the mugs. We'll stick with the mugs. Okay, so it's great to have you all back. Thank you for a cracking conversation. Well, I think we were all chomping at the bit, weren't we, Gary?
We are. Like, I can't help but, start to, have it feel like Christmas Eve. We're excited.
One long Christmas Eve. How about you, David? If you scratch the itch, or you're going to keep scribbling down, going to make a list of episodes, you think, oh no, maybe that one.
I've my itch well and truly scratched. Thank you, Dan. My only request is that, just for the sake of everybody's sanity, can you put a trigger warning up before you show a picture of the Billy thing again, please? Because
I'll do my best, mate.
It's oh dear me. But yeah, thank you so much. I had a wonderful time. Nice to be back.
Superb. It's great to have you back, mate. And of course, Simon, I think we've got a couple of diary entries that are bursting from the pages in the coming weeks, and lots more plans are dropping into place, aren't they?
Yeah. The diary will definitely be back, but obviously we couldn't do it this week because this was just a special about the missing episodes. But the diary will be back, so don't worry.
The diary will be back, and so will everything else. More rants and raves, basically. More dad jokes, more punchy, insightful, and good-natured, slightly biting coverage of everything out there in the Whoniverse, the past, the present, and the future, for better and for worse. Yeah, we'll be coming back to him at some point. I have no doubt. And don't think that we've forgotten about you, pal. I know. But in the meantime, yeah, there is a lot to be happy and to be hopeful for, I think. We want to know, obviously, what are the stories, which are the episodes that you want to see returned the very, very most. So be sure to drop all that in the comments once you've had a good long think about it. And yeah, watch for more coming soon. Please like this video if you haven't already, wherever it is you're watching. Follow us. We've had a lot of people involved tonight. Thank you so much for all that interaction wherever you are. We're back from now in the big run up to Christmas. So yeah, watch out for the tinsel here and there. It's bound to happen. But that's it for this one. But we always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. Catch you next time. Thanks for everything, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Duggan.